Welcome back to Prison Architect Advanced Gang Warfare. Last episode, Blue Gang dominated the field, capturing all 5 territory points, shutting out all the other gangs. I spent the night checking out some of my prisoners, and one name caught my eye: White. Walter White. The legend himself made it into the prison. I couldn't believe it. Heisenberg himself was in the Green Gang. Not too much longer later, I noticed that we had another death, and it was a prisoner that got killed for being a snitch. However, Porter had a shotgun and started trying to go ham on both the guards and other prisoners around him. This was a foreboding sight. Barely 10 a.m. in the morning, eat time, and Blue Gang is already having a riot. An all-out brawl, if you will. Seems like they were frustrated with the size or the food, and now Red Gang was joining in on them, and it seemed like the civil wars from last episode weren't quite done yet. However, I started to realize that the focus of the civil war wasn't the same. In fact, the prisoners weren't even having a civil war at all. I realized that they had just encountered a common enemy that they would fight to the end of the earth. As I was checking through my programs, I noticed that the Blue and Green Gang leader were hanging out, and a lot of the Red Gang as well, all in the chapel. It seemed like they were having a meeting of some sort. Maybe they were discussing terms of war, maybe they were trying to get safety since Blue owned all the territory, but it turns out they were just scheming a purge. Soon after, a fight broke out, leaving 3 dead. The only 3 victims were guards. Blue Gang has started a new war against our own guards. It didn't really make any sense. I decided to try to evict them from the yard, and turns out they were having none of it. Even though they had all the territories, they were still gathering for gang business meetings. Jerome the lieutenant leading all of them. Immediately, Blue leapt into action, taking off their shirts, starting a fight against every single guard in this prison. It was an unfair match. The prisoner guards had armor, they had batons, they had tasers, yet Blue was fearlessly getting knocked unconscious, but still trying to injure the guards as well. Luckily, this scuffle didn't end with anyone's death. However, that wasn't going to be the same for the next fights to come. Barely 2 minutes later, while Jerome was trying to recruit another group of members to fight the guards, Green Gang seemed to be inspired and started trying to fight their own way. Leaving some unconscious, it wasn't quite as big as Blue Gang's effort. However, I knew this wouldn't stop there. Later that night, a massive riot broke out. Blue Gang and Green Gang both decided to fight their guards. As I was adding on to the graveyard, I started hearing gunshots and screaming go off. Then I was alerted to the riot. After death started piling up, I checked it out, and then I saw Blue Gang. Dead bodies strewn across their entire canteen floor. The prisoners have gotten guns. I happened to give them an armory, but I don't think that's where they got the guns from, because there seemed to be a dead armed guard. Just multiple dead armed guards on the floor. Lots of unconscious prisoners, but the only ones that were dead were the guards. This was the start of the purging of the guards. Shortly after, I checked on the Green Gang. It seemed like their purge wasn't quite as successful. One of the repercussions from this was a dead prisoner, the legendary Walter Heisenberg White, killed for being a snitch. Much time to mourn, another riot already became underway, and it seemed like it was Blue Gang. They seemed to have got second wind, or maybe the doctors came in and healed them, and now they're going back at it, trying to kill even more guards. I made a promise to myself last episode that I wouldn't hire any more guards because I already hired way too many for the number of prisoners that I had. Seems like they're trying to test my resolve. As the sun rose on day 8, the deaths did not stop. Barely even into the morning, more people started dying, riots started happening, Red Gang started joining in the movement, Blue Gang started increasing the number of kills that they had against the guards, and Green Gang, they just did what Green Gang did best. Blue started singling out different guards and ganging up on them, trying to see if they can take them out one by one. My guards were tough and strong, however, just against a sheer number of people, it wouldn't stop them. Red Gang also started their movement. Seemed like they had a small riot and actually got rid of a couple more guards, slowly whittling down my numbers. I used to have 180, now I'm down to 132, all within the span of 12 hours. As the number of guards dwindled, I started feeling my grasp on this prison start to slip. I started losing it. More and more deaths. I'm down to 117 guards. This is one of the worst times I've ever had. But right when I thought it was too bad, it got even worse. The biggest riot I've ever had in this prison happened. I don't know what set them off. I guess the death of an armed guard gave them the freedom, gave someone a machine gun, gave someone else a shotgun, gave someone else a baton. Prisoners with weapons, armed and dangerous, started taking out prison guards out of nowhere. The numbers started increasing. We went from 30 prisoners rioting to now 60, and it seems to be multiplying to 70. Green gang started it, red gang started, guards started dying left and right. If you look up top, you can see the numbers start to dwindle down. 101, 100, 99, 98. Everyone was ganging up on the prison guards, making this into an anarchy. As time grew, I started to get more frustrated. This was getting annoying to me. Normally people would say, call in the riot police at this time. I'm looking at you, Sewell. You would definitely say that. However, I wanted to let this prison run on itself. I didn't want to have too much intervention and not hire any more guards or bring in the riot police. However, as more machine gun fire happened, I started realizing that I was screwed either way. As the death toll in the bottom right corner for a single day started increasing its tally, I realized I'm going to need a lot more gravestones. Eventually, my altruism gave in to me and I started trying to hire some riot police. I hired one, and then I realized I'm going to need a lot more to this because the riots were never going to go away anytime soon. These prisoners were armed and dangerous. I tried to quickly get a squad into each security, knowing that some of them won't make it out alive. The riot was still going, 16, 15 prisoners strong. Seemed like it was starting to calm down. However, the control in the prison was not mine yet. With riot guards and each of the securities, it seemed like the riots had completely stopped. We had some dissidents still trying to cause some trouble. However, it seemed overall I had control of the prison again. However, this control was very, very short-lived. I hadn't even gotten rid of the riot guards, and yet another riot broke out. The danger level was way too high. It seemed like maybe a leader got punished. I couldn't tell. I tried to look, and it seemed like all the leaders were still in place. However, this was not going to end well. The riot guards were now in the thick of it. The ground turned red with blood of both the guards and the prisoners alike. However, because the prisoners outnumbered the guards, the death toll started to increase drastically. 77 today, down to 188 guards. We lost 4 riot police already, and the doctors seemed to be on the prisoner side. Medic gang seemed to be trying to going around healing prisoners, and then the healed prisoners would come back into the fray. Seemed after eventually the riot calmed down, but oh boy, did it take its toll. After a while, I started to release the riot police, knowing that they'll need to come back eventually and recoup, hopefully getting some more hires to replace the 4 dead that they had. They were barely out the doors when another riot started. I didn't have any way to call them back, so I just called a bunch of guards to see if we could get them to get stopped. I eventually grew even more frustrated knowing that this is not the way I wanted gang warfare to work. I was pretty much done with this prison. I had given up all hope on any control. The death tally still continued. I checked out the number of legendary prisoners. Realized there was someone out of place. It seemed like a legendary prisoner got into the red gang and started trying to murder both the guards and the gang members at the same time. Another riot broke out. Over 100 dead in one day. We were down to 57 guards. I started to just, I don't know. I just got really frustrated and then I snapped. I didn't want to do it at first, but I realized fight fire with fire. I looked into the menu, looked at the way to do it, and turned on free fire for all sectors. I called the riot police back earlier, and it seemed like the prisoners were just having access to guns now that they've broken into the armory, and free fire seemed to really not help that much, except for the number of deaths, now down or up to 109 today. The red gang seemed to be doing really well, having taken over that armory and now seem to be taking over the entire area. The whole place turned red. I started calling off the riot police. They weren't doing much and they've already lost too many members so far. Number of guards and prisoners strewn about, it made me sad. I wanted to do something cool, and this was not how I expected it to turn out. I mean, I kinda did, but I was expecting more gang members to be dead than the guards themselves. In a metaphor to the world itself, the riots raged on. No matter what I could do, even if I hired all the prison guards and police and riot police in the world, nothing could stop what was going on. It was around 2:45 a.m. on day 9. I was inserting all the gravestones to make up for all the deaths that I missed out on earlier, and I realized that this world was doomed. So I asked myself a question. What would God do in this situation? I stroked my chin, thinking. As more prisoners arrived and more riots occurred, I added some more guards earlier and they were quickly getting dwindled back down. This world was fated to be destroyed. With a clenched fist, I announced Blue Gang as an unofficial winner and opened up the spawn tools. What could I do? Fire. Why not burn this place down? I wasted no time. I started clicking around everything. The prisoners, the prison guards, the reception, the office, the new prisoners that were still trying to get into the prison. I added fire, trying to burn it all down. I decided to purge this world. Purge it all of its death. I want to start a new world with more territories, more control, better rules, everything. But in order for that to happen, this world had to be burned down. A smile on my face kind of cracked out as I saw the smoke start to billow into the air. The whole prison started lighting up in a beautiful glow of purging flames. It's not surprising. As the death counts increased, the prisoners didn't like that and they decided to riot on their own. Except I was having too much fun. There was nothing they could do. No one that they could kill that would stop them from getting destroyed by these flames. A slight smile cracked out on my face. This was a fitting end, honestly. It might be a short-lived series, but there's going to be more, for sure. I think ending it all on fire is satisfying for everyone. Even the firemen couldn't really do much to take out the fire. The deaths were huge. Over 300 deaths in one day. It was amazing. And all of it wasn't because of rioting. It was all fire. As we conclude, I let you guys watch a time lapse of the burning flames. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. This was of course a prototype or beta test of advanced gang warfare. Let me know what you guys want to see. I really appreciate the feedback that you left on the last videos. If you ever feel like rooting for a gang, feel free to hop in on our Discord, get a free role for whatever gang you want to support, and fight on.